Okay, and I shall turn my camera on so that you can see that I am a real person. So hi, welcome to all of you. It's amazing to have you here. I'm assuming a lot of you are you're in the WhatsApp group because we posted the link. Please, can you mute yourself if you are not speaking because of the quality of the recording? Please mute yourself as soon as you come in. Everybody. Okay, right. So as soon as you come in, kindly mute yourself. So welcome to all of you. Most of you have seen my face before. That's why you're here. I think I did a live on 2 platforms in the past week. So you probably have joined from either of those platforms. Okay, so my name is Veronica Modukbe Yusuf. All of you know I'm originally Nigerian. This person, can you please stay on mute? Yeah, just to keep the noise to a minimum. Originally Nigerian, I've been in the UK for 18 plus years. All of you know that I came in originally as an immigrant to do my master's in University of South Wales. I know a lot of you actually are from South Wales, which I found out recently. And I will say the rest is history. You will get to know in a minute. So today, this is a free taster session. And essentially what we are focusing on today is for people who are looking to get into project management via what we call a stepping stone career path, such as project support, project support functions, i.e. PMO, project coordinator, project administrator. And we have my co-host here, Tunde, who's going to talk us through that in a lot of detail. So a lot of you have been chatting with me previously saying you want to get into project management. And I also talked about leveraging your transferable skills, telling you that the fact that you have a Nigeria-based career, or sorry, career, let's put it that, or background as it were, does not mean that you can't leverage that even in the UK. And we will talk about leveraging your transferable skills as well. So today, this is really to help you identify what a PMO or project support person does and what you require, what sort of skill set you require, so that then you can, look at if any of these things are relevant to what you already have, which you then can leverage. And that's essentially what we will be doing today. So it's lovely to have you, 75 of you here. Now I'm going to share my screen because we have a slide to get through. And then we will have Q&A, so don't worry. And hopefully we will give you a lot of detail of value in this session. If you have questions, please go ahead and start popping them in the chat because we will have some time for Q&A. So a big welcome to you once again. Now, this has been put together by Sterling Careers Limited. We are UK established. We're registered in the UK, but we have a global coverage, which means we have people engaging with us from all over the world, because of course, now the world is a global village. So regardless of where you are, all you need is internet access and you can get anywhere and do anything. Now we are CPD accredited. CPD is UK based, so it just means continuing professional development. So we are a CPD accredited provider. So that's what that means. And what's today's agenda? We will first of all talk about Sterling Careers by myself, and then I'll hand over to Tunde, who was experienced. You will hear about him, you'll hear his profile. He will deep dive into the training of the day. And we also have some of our team members within the academy who, if we have enough time, we'll also hear from them as well. And then we'll tell you what's next. So get ready, fasten your belts, get your coffee, get your tea, and let's go. Sterling Careers, trusting that you can see my slide. Please let me know. Give me a thumbs up if it's a yes, or just say yes. I hope you can see the slides. Can you see my slides? Okay, I can see.
Yes, we can.
Brilliant, thank you. I may not be able to see the chat, so just tell me. Brilliant, thank you so much. So Sterling Careers is a training and a coaching organization. Like I said earlier, we are registered in the UK, and we focus, our training really focuses on project management. Some of you have asked, you've reached out to me in the DMs and on Instagram to ask about courses that we offer. Project management, business analysis, data protection and privacy is those are our core areas that we really focus on. And of course, we do career coaching where we sort of work you through CV writing, interview prep, LinkedIn optimization, and a host of other things. Now, we're made up of IT and business domain experts. I've been in that space for about a decade now, and my co-host over 20 odd years. And we have a combination of people, different professionals in the tech space who, deliver our training across the board. And we are domain experts. So some of us have been in financial services, higher education, travel, automotive, pharmaceuticals, and the list goes on. Now, when you come onto our program, we offer what you call voluntary internship, and that essentially is you come on and you learn how to do the job. So we are really big. Some people ask about certifications. I talk about certifications because I believe in it. I've got lots of it as well. But our model in Sterling Careers is helping you to learn by doing. Is really helping you to be, please mute yourself, thank you. It's helping you to be market ready. And that's kind of what our mantra or our model really is about. And we have several boot camps, one of which we will be talking about today at the end. Trevor, can you mute everyone, please? There's some interference. Yeah. Okay, so essentially, and we are virtual, we are fully remote, and so it doesn't matter where you are based. You can engage with us. You don't have to travel down to London to any office because it's all fully remote. And this is who I am. I am the director and CEO of Sterling Careers Limited. I already mentioned I have a
I think you're muted.
Okay, so he muted everybody. That's okay. Right, thanks for that. With over 10 years in the space, in the IT space, I've worked across different organizations, different domains, and I'm very passionate really about this because, like I said during the live that I had with Mo Abudu, I said because coming from Nigeria to the UK, the sort of challenges that I face, that a lot of people have faced, and we end up settling for jobs that we really would not ordinarily go for, but because we don't know how to navigate corporate UK, we end up settling. And of course, that was something I experienced, and I learned how to, make a career change into the tech space, and that's what I've been doing. And I'm really passionate about helping and showing people that it is possible for you to do better than where you are, if it is not where you want to be. And of course, we've got my co-host who will talk about, he will talk about himself. He's also my co-facilitator. Okay, so I think I want to start from this point, which I believe is the reason why a lot of you have joined today. A lot of you have messaged me, chatted here and there to say, some of you have, I think I did a live where I was saying, tell me what you're doing currently. Some of you have recently relocated to the UK. I know there's a massive influx from different parts of the world and have relocated to the UK. Some of you are, maybe you're doing your master's and working on the side, doing jobs that you ordinarily would not really want to go for, but because you do not know how to leverage what you have. And I talked about whether you're customer service, whether you are in banking. We have a lot of bankers in the academy, and essentially what we teach them and what we show them is that you can take that banking background from Nigeria, and you can, because a skill, I always say that a skill is a skill. It's just about presentation. And let me use that very familiar Nigerian phrase that it's about packaging. Not packaging to be deceptive, not to lie, because I'm against lying on your CV, but it's about how you present your previous or your existing or your current skill set and background to leverage into maybe any of the career paths within tech. And I normally talk about you really sitting down doing that work. So those of you who attended the live, I talked about my skills gap analysis. This is something that I do, or skills matching. And essentially it's just for you to say, do your research, first of all. Of course, you want to get into project management. What does a project manager do? We'll talk about, Tunde is going to talk about that in more detail. Understand what the skills, someone's on the slide. You don't need, I'll flip the slides, don't worry. So you've got to do your research. Somebody asked me that, okay, after this thing, if we talk, once you have gotten into project maybe PMO, is it automatic to get into project management and all of those things? I wouldn't say it's automatic, but it is a segue. It is a stepping stone path that you can start, and you start picking up the skills, you start picking up the confidence, because a lot of it is about confidence. Some of you have done certifications, you've done Prince 2 and all of PMI and all of these things, but you have not been able to get that confidence to get out there, to start applying for a job. And most of it is purely because maybe you're not even sure what is required. You haven't done a lot of research. And I always say to people, do your research and find out, what does a PM do? What does a PMO do in terms of skills? What is the day in the life of a PM? And then you can look at what skills you already have. So some of you are doing jobs, some of you are, are doing things that are, of course, not called project management or not called project support in that title. But when you do your research, you find out that, okay, a project manager or a PMO analyst does report writing. A PMO analyst is about being organized, facilitating meetings, supporting a project manager, and all of these things which Tunde is going to cover. And you already do these things on your job today, or you have done them back home in Africa, in Ghana, in Qatar, wherever it is you are. So you've got those skills. So once you have identified what is required in this area that you want to get into, i.e. project management, then you look at what you have in terms of your career background, even your educational background, that you can say, right, I have this. And so I can leverage it and I can repurpose it on my CV. I can get onto LinkedIn and put it there that I have this skill and that skill, and I'm open to transition into becoming a project manager or a project coordinator. So it's all about strategic positioning, but you've got to understand what is required in terms of skill set for this path that you want to get into. And then you now look at what you have that you can leverage. And that's what we talk about, leveraging transferable skills. Now, these are just a list of things that we call stepping stone paths to project management. A lot of you have said you want to get into project management. And I say to them in the academy, those of them who have finished the program and they're applying, I say, when you are applying for jobs, do you only limit yourself to project management jobs? And I say that is really limiting yourself, because you can broaden your scope and you can look for project coordinator, PMO lead, PMO analyst, and all of those sort of things, which you can use with your PM skill. And the fact that you want to get into project management does not mean that you can't explore being a PMO analyst or a project coordinator, and you just give yourself, say, maybe this first time I would do this for 6 months because I already have this skill set from back home. I have been an admin person, I've been in customer service, and these skills that I have found out is required for project management, I already have them. And so let me see how I can repurpose them to start applying for these sort of jobs. And then by the time you get out, you get a job, maybe you do it for 6 months, then you have picked up the confidence, you have worked on real projects, and you now know that, okay, I can actually pitch for a project manager role. And that's essentially what we're going to be looking at today. How do you go about that? Now, these are project management opportunities. I think my slide, I will pause now and just hand over to Tunde, who will, go deep dive into what is project management and how, what steps do you need to take? Where do you start from? Especially when you probably have some skills, of course, or maybe you don't even know, maybe you haven't done research. And I talk to a lot of you and I ask you, have you done any research? I hear some people say, oh, no, not really. That's always the first place to start. Go online and find out, okay, look for PMO jobs, look for project manager jobs, and look at what they require, what they need. And you'll be shocked that you'll be able to tick off some of these things already, regardless of the fact that this experience is from Africa, Ghana, anywhere. It really doesn't matter. It's how you present yourself. So I'm just going to hand over to Tunde to introduce himself and deep dive into some more content. And of course, if you got any questions, please feel free to pop it in the chat. I will turn my camera off and hand over to Tunde. So welcome to all of you again. Over to you, Tunde.
Hello. Excuse me. Veronica, I think there was a message on there about people trying to get in and not able to get in.
I think they should all be in now. Trevor is supposed to be admitting that. I don't have much.
Okay. While you deal with that, I will. So would you be moving the slides along for me?
Yeah, or you can. Do you want to take over the slides from your end? I can stop sharing.
No, rather you do it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So yep. I will try to pace myself as much as possible. Hello. Oh, you can't hear me. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can.
Maybe the person has audio.
Somebody said they couldn't hear me.
Yes, please, we can.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Let me see if this will work. Yeah, this is what I look like now. In that other picture I had hair growing on my head. Now it grows in my chin. Anyway, so let's talk about project a little bit. Project are temporary endeavors created by somebody, anybody, an organization for a very specific purpose. So one thing you will find out, so most of my examples will be relevant to, maybe I should introduce myself a little bit. Veronica, can we go back to that slide that has a little bit about me?
There's a lot of noise on the background. Can you go? Anu, can you mute yourself? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's okay. I think I can remember.
You can remember?
So yes, I have a number of, that one, thanks. I was gonna say, this is me, not the other one. I am a practitioner of what we are talking about. I've worked across business analysis, software testing, even project management, and I am also a functional manager within the organizational structure in one of the companies I work for. I have circa 3 decades industry experience across IT, banking, and several other things in between. And I think I've sunk my teeth in the last couple of years into automotive manufacturing. I think my most recent experience would be in that field, and I could say that. Thank you. So if you go back to the other bit now, what we are talking about is specifically about finding an easy route into the project environment.
Sorry to cut you. I think some people are leaving messages. Unfortunately, the Zoom meeting has reached its capacity. There's 100 people, and so it's not allowing others. And unfortunately, that's all we can take for today. Not unless I change the settings. I'm not sure I can. But what we will do is, anybody, if you know a friend, we will share the recording with everyone who's registered, because it's not allowing anymore after 100. And there is 100 people in here. Trevor, can you pop that in the chat that it's reached its capacity? I will see if I can extend it behind the scenes, but for now, that's what it is. That's why people can join.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get involved with projects in our daily lives. A project is something that you put in place to help you achieve an objective. And once that objective is achieved, that is the end of the project. I know we can all come up with several examples of how this has, how you have been, maybe in your own personal lives, in your home, maybe even at your places of work. And then I want to touch on project management, and then I'll bring in, and then touch on project lifecycle, and then bring in why we're here today. So the project management bit of this is if you create a temporary organization to help you deliver an objective, the same way we manage our lives, the same way we manage our everything, we will need to put a structure in around this project, which is that temporary endeavor we spoke about earlier. And we'll try to make sure that we organize it, we plan it, we monitor it, we control things within the parameters of the project, and we make sure that we get the objective that we set out in the first instance to get by establishing that project. And the guidance, the management you build around that project is what is called project management. Again, I wouldn't expect that this is not familiar with some of us, but maybe we've not really given that thought process into defining what it is. Now, let's talk about a project lifecycle. So typically, if we moved a little bit into the work environment now. So like I said, in our personal lives, we have projects in our homes. Maybe for those of you living in the UK, you buy if you're in business of properties, you buy a property that is not fully livable, and you plan some money, you budget some money, you plan some time, you put some activities in place, and you renovate the property. That's just an easy example that I think everyone might be able to easily relate with. Now, to do so, you could have that. That is also a project. If you have done that before and you have done it successfully, you can send out your CVs and say, yeah, come on, man, I'm a project manager. I've done this, I've done that, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, by the way. And so, if we now scale that up a little bit, move it out of the personal you and your money environment, and we move it into, could we go on mute, please? If we move it into the work environment for a minute, and so obviously the scope will be slightly bigger than this, and there would be a more structured process to ring fence that project as it stands. Obviously, it's moved out of being your money, it is some other person's money. There is an organizational structure around it. There are boundaries around it. And generally, for a project, you would find out that most project management frameworks would tell you that there are phases others call it phases, others call it activities, but let's just call it phases for now. And that is saying that, well, there is a point where you check if your project can be delivered. I'm going to stop in a minute. I just needed to set the context before we start talking about project coordinator, by the way, because this is what you are coordinating. So it would make sense for you to be able to have a full picture in your mind of what you are coordinating when we start talking about more realistic or more specific things. So you would expect that there is a point where you you think, can this be done? And then you say, yeah, okay, it can be done. You do a little bit of feasibility. You do a little bit of checking what the value is you want to get from doing that project. Some people will call it initiation, but let's just call that phase initiation. Is the first phase of in the project life cycle. Now, we are saying project life cycle because it must have a life cycle. It must have a start and it must have an end. That is the key thing with project. And so you get to that stage where, okay, you know what you want to get out of it. You've checked that it is feasible. You know that there is money available for you to implement the money component of that project, or you have established a means of getting funding for that project. If it's an organization, then you go into the planning stage. And in the planning stage, you identify what needs to be done to achieve the objectives of the project. You plan them. If there are, let's say there are 10 things that needs to be done, one thing must be done at the beginning, another thing must be done at the end. And then after the first thing is done, one other thing must be done, but some other things can be done in parallel. Just so we're talking about scheduling. You're talking about predecessors, successors, in terms of all of these activities. The terminologies may be new to some of you, but what they mean is simple. It's saying that what you must do first, you do first. What you must do next, you check that what you're doing next, that depends on what you first did, has got to be completed before you can start what you're doing next. If you could do, blessing, if you go, yeah, thanks. If there are some other things you could do concurrently, you stack them together. So you plan your project and you schedule the activities and the tasks of the project. Now, the phase of your project or that activity within your project that allows you to do that is called the planning stage or the planning activity within your project. And then you get to the point within your project where you begin to do some of the things that you said you are going to do within your project. That is the execution stage of your project. And there is a phase or activity or set of activities within your project where you monitor the progress and you monitor the quality of the outputs or the deliverables. Now you will have the big objective, which is the big deliverable of the project, but you will have phased items or deliverables that helps you measure or quantify your progress towards the objective of the project. And so those are the 5 key stages. And then finally you would close the project. So I am 100% sure that almost everyone on this call can picture in their minds what we are talking about, because these are just daily life things. However, the context of what we've just spoken about is the context from which you can make money. And that is what we're going to be talking about. So the context that has the project coordinator or the project support or the PMO analyst, whatever we've chosen to call it, or project administrator, the context is the context that we've just spoken about. There is a project, there is a set of activities and tools and knowledge that is required by the organization or by you to be able to deliver the objectives of the project. And then there is a guidance, a framework that tells you that you will need to do something to start the project, you will need to do some things to close the project, and there are some other things in between that needs to be done. That is the context of everything we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to try to quicken my pace a little bit. Thank you very much. Can I have the next slide, please? So what do you need to get started on there? So you know what you need to do. You know what happens within the confines of that temporary endeavor or temporary organization that's been put in place for you to deliver the objective of that organization. Now, an objective for a project can be a short-term objective, can be a medium-term objective, and can be a long-term one. I mean, if, for example, you want to build a bridge across the Channel Island. No, sorry. What's that channel between France and the UK or something? Obviously, that's probably more long-term and will require a bit of planning rather than one where you want to build an extension or you want to do something for your organization. Now, yeah, Veronica mentioned this. So the role is called, Veronica, I said, are you going to be sharing the slide? I think the answer to that is...
No, we don't share our slides. We share the recording, not the slides.
You share the recording, okay.
Yeah, not the slides.
Fantastic. So the role is, it's got many names. I really don't know why they have so many names to it, but I think it is the context of the organization. It is not regulated in any firm way. It is, but essentially, no matter what it is called, what you do remains exactly the same. So if I move to the next slide, please. Sorry, if you please go back. Let's deal with those contents that came up first. So, what do you do as a project coordinator? Now we are talking specifically about project coordinator. There's something else I need to say. A project coordinator works on projects. They deputize for the project manager, like Veronica mentioned. They help to coordinate the day-to-day activities of the project. I will set a slightly different context for you. Why we leave this slide on for a minute. Now, you know that I mentioned something about organizational context a few seconds ago. There are organizations that are very rigidly structured. There are organizations that are not as rigidly structured. They just do things as they need to. So one thing you need to have at the back of your mind is that the next job you get in the project domain could be in any of these organizations. Now, there are organizations where they do not have a very huge project management capability or infrastructure built. So what they have are just functional areas, but they do use projects to deliver the project objectives. And so if as a project coordinator, you were to get a job in such an organization, or you are a permanent member of the organization, they wanted to do a project and they ask you to look after that project or deliver that project for them. So your role might be called project coordinator, but if you do not have a specific project manager working above you that you report to, then even though your role is called that of a project coordinator, your responsibilities are that of a project manager. So that is the first context I'm trying to set, and I will tell you why I'm setting that context in a minute. You do have a scenario where you have a project manager or senior project manager, or you have a PMO director or whatever hierarchy that is specific to project. And you are a project coordinator in that kind or that sort of scenario, then you would now be pairing up and deputizing for the guy that is directly seated in the main office behind you. And so you would be working and owning the responsibility of a project coordinator, in which case you would be doing tasks that are delegated to you by the senior. Now, the good thing, and one of the things we are hoping to help you see as a result of your interest in this area, is that being a project coordinator is a slightly easier route into getting into projects in the UK, if this is where you choose to work. I want to believe it is the same everywhere else. However, it's the UK is what we've known for the last 17, 18 years. So pardon me if I use that as the only example in my mind. So the two differences are, you would be called a project coordinator, you could be called a project coordinator, but your responsibilities might differ. And so when we started talking about project, we started talking about project management, we started talking about project life cycle. It is because the things you would need to know and be confident about are not necessarily different. So you need to plan for any of these options that might come your way. That is why I mentioned that. So don't say, I only want to be a project coordinator again, I mean in the future, and so I only want to learn how to support people. Yeah, maybe you should dream bigger than that. But we're going to get into the details. For the moment though, we would be talking about how you could be a effective and good project coordinator. 1 minute, please. Oops. Sorry. That also allowed me to catch my breath. So when you are working as a project coordinator or project support or PMO analyst, in addition to deputizing whoever your boss is, don't forget that you could have a portfolio manager, a program manager, a project manager sitting, or a senior project manager sitting on top of you in the organizational hierarchy. Typically, a project coordinator might be assigned across multiple project managers, or across a portfolio of projects, or across a portfolio, or across a PMO, in which case there might be additional responsibilities depending on the stage of the project. But again, we're going to touch on all of it. Now, the good thing is that there is no expectation of you to be a complete pro, where you have been addressed or where the job description advertised for a project coordinator. And so that's why we felt that it's an easier route into the project space. And once you get in there and you can prove your diligence, you can prove your attention to detail, you can prove that you are a person that gets things done and done properly, obviously they wouldn't be looking for anybody to come and sit over you again to be your project manager when they know you can do it. And that's one of the reasons why it is an attractive proposition if you are looking to get a project related work in the UK. Typically, you provide administrative support to the infrastructure that you sit under, and that is that is typical for a project coordinator. In terms of the other things you do now, so don't forget that we said that in project planning, so we said that there are 5 phases. The first one was initiation, the second one was planning. So let's talk about planning for a little bit. A planning would have a plan. I don't know what to call that, but you get what I'm trying to say. There is a document that's called a project plan. That's what I meant by that. And within that project plan, there is an artifact or another document that is called a project schedule. You know, I was saying that an activity must start, and you're saying that, well, if this activity is completed, then you can only do this other activity. You remember when I was saying that? Yeah, you do. And we said there are some other activities that can run concurrently in parallel, and then you can have the final. So You arrange all of these set of activities in your project schedule. And one of the key things a project coordinator does is to help the project manager or program manager or the PMO office to coordinate and report on the performance of the schedule. So what you will find is in creating a project plan, so the key document or artifact of a project plan is that project schedule. So in doing that, what you have done is you have broken down the objective of the project, the overall objective, into a set and an arrangement of activities and tasks here and there. So technically speaking, to get here, once you do everything in between, you will definitely get here. And the main job that you will find yourself doing as a project coordinator is not to prepare that huge plan that has a lot of moving tasks and activities. No, it is to help the person that you report to manage all of those things. To be fair, it's fairly easy. I'll give an example of one of the projects I'm working on, which is to move a factory from one location to the other. If I was to have a project coordinator working with me on the project, all they will be doing would be looking at activities in the schedule that we needs to be completed this week. They will be looking at whether the contractor that we need to do a particular task has been engaged. They will be looking at the date by which we must have the contractor engaged so that they can have this much time to do the job, and they will be calling them up, making sure that these guys will come as scheduled. And the main job is to help and report on those sort of scheduled activities. If a contractor that must start work on Monday say they cannot start work on Monday, they can only start on Wednesday, and the plan that you and your boss have already are working with is that you have to start on Monday because we have other dependencies. Obviously, there are other implications. So those sort of things, you quickly notify your boss that, hey, boss, we have a problem here. This is the problem, and these are the potential issues from it. And if there are budget issues, you report on that. If there are other issues, if there are risks, like in this example I've just given, you also come up with all of those. So essentially, your job will be to be looking at that piece of paper and helping the boss to understand exactly what is happening in all of those. And that ties in with what we have displayed on that screen right now. Project support, project coordinator, project PMO analyst. You update plans and schedules as we've just spoken about. If there are meetings that need to be organized, if there are documents to be administered, if there are reporting requirements on progress, risk, and issues, that will be all on you. Sometimes there might be a need to be involved. To be fair, so if you were to find yourself working in the first structure I said, where I said you would be working in a functional, under a functional manager, and even though your role will be called a project coordinator, but you might need to plan all of the activities. So you might be involved in project planning and scheduling as well. You would need to manage meetings and so all of these things are similar. The key things is just that you will be helping your project manager to manage project related artifacts, meetings, plans and schedules, documents. If they needed to do some reporting, they will do some reporting. The main thing is that you will be more administrative in your involvement with the project, while they will be more stakeholder facing I think that is the slight difference. But there is nothing to suggest that they cannot ask you to go meet with stakeholders. In fact, you, in the instance I just gave, you are technically, they can ask you to do anything. And you would have, once you become very familiar with the organization, you would have the skill sets of a project manager eventually. As a PMO analyst, I think the slight thing about PMO analysts is that PMOs set the standard for project management within organizations. One thing you will find when you get onto project is that you would have a lot of templates to play around with, especially when you work in an organization that has a PMO. So as a PMO analyst, you would obviously be doing a lot of project and program planning. You will be doing a lot of meeting management. You will be doing a lot of stakeholder management. And all of these are probably terms that you've not heard before. Essentially, you're going to be talking to whoever the boss talks to. It's just, that's just what it is. And you are going to be asked to use your brain a little bit in managing successful programs. They have done a project to obtain a benefit, maybe in the organization, maybe the benefit is not really that clear to the majority of the people in the organization. It will be your job. It could be your job if you are assigned to work with different groups of people within the organization to help them realize the benefit of using the new tool or doing things in the way that your project has asked them to change to, so that you help them to manage and realize the benefits of the value that you have introduced by reason of the project. There are frameworks available, but I don't want to go into the details of all of those at the moment. Now, what skills do you need? The core skill that you need is the ability to communicate. Now, what this has done in the 3 columns in there is that communication, 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 written and oral. You would need to be able to do that. And I want to believe that if you are here, I think you understand and you value communication, and you would be happy to make some money off your ability to talk to people and let them talk to you. Sometimes you would need to move things around and facilitate things for them, work like customer service. You would need the ability to be a problem solver. You would need leadership skills to, when your boss is not available to give you instructions, you would need the skill to be able to take charge in the absence of your boss and remove all the noise from whatever problem has been escalated to you and your boss, because in the absence of your boss, you are project manager, you are decision maker, and it is up to you how you deal with that emerging situation. One of the things you need is a calm head. You need you just need to say, if your project manager is Roger, you would probably ask yourself, what would Roger do? What would Roger do? Yes, this is what he did. Yeah, that's fine. And you take charge, and you have the tension in the air, and you find a way to, in your mind and in the things you say, take some activities, take some responsibilities, which is what leaders do, and assign responsibilities where you possibly could. You would find that when you are able to do that and you say, Mr. A, I understand this, but why don't you get this information for me, if possible, please? Mr. B, why don't you do this and let me do this? Don't worry about it. I will talk to the PM when I get his attention. So it is the other ability to own that and make sure that things do not become a problem. When a problem is escalated to you and all you do is escalate to the boss, I'm not saying you should take decisions that are not yours to take. That is not what I'm saying. But you would have a feel for what you should be able to do and what you can do by the time you spend a few weeks on the project. But your personality must be that of a person that will stand in as I am here, you do not need another leadership direction apart from the one I'm giving you. And those are some of the things you would need to learn. Most of you would have it already. It means that you have a key ingredient for you to succeed in finding that your inroad into that project environment. Other bit was that you are able to manage engagement with any level of stakeholder or people that are involved with or impacted by the project. It depends on the type of project, really. If the project is internal, you will need to be able to manage the engagement with the internal people. If it is external, you would need to be able to manage engagement with external stakeholders. You need to be able to manage your time. You need to reporting is one of the key things that if you have a PM sitting above you in the hierarchy, reporting is one of the things they would ask you to do. They would probably tell you this work stream, they need a reporting format. Could you make up a reporting format for me? Let me check it. Yeah, that is fine. Okay, I need you to implement this across all of these project work streams or across this particular project work stream because this or that, whatever it is, you just take the instruction that you have been given, you build a framework around it, you build an alignment with whoever your PM is, and you take it forward and you own it. The key thing is, even if it is just a minor piece of reporting they have given to you, you be the boss of that report. You make sure there is nobody better at that thing at that point in time in that organization than you are. And that is what you do to be a successful project coordinator. Collaboration, you organize all of those and you work with different people. In terms of the attributes of your person, you must be able to take pay attention to details. Now, you, more than any other person on the project, you must have good memory or good skills at keeping records and being able to reference them. Now, if you're working on a big project, you have a lot of records to maintain. Remembering them becomes difficult. It means that you will need I wanted to call it a formula, but a structure for storing and retrieving information so that when critical information is needed, it doesn't take you a minute to find it in whatever style or method you've used to manage the information. Or if you have good memory, I've worked with people, they remember things, exact things we spoke about 6 months ago. I admire them. I can't do that. I just need to find a way of writing it down so that I can always go back to it. You determine what is good for you, but your attention to detail must be second to none on the project. I think that is one of your biggest attributes as a project coordinator. You must be able to see the big picture. Don't forget that half the time you are not responsible for the delivery of a deliverable of the project. No, you are just your responsibility is to help them to facilitate the delivery. And so you have to be able to see the big picture all the time. You need to take ownership, even though you are not responsible for the delivery. Taking ownership does not mean that you boss people around. No, even if you have the ability to, don't do it. There is no value in it. What is more important is not your ego, but your ability to help people get the job done. that is the biggest value to you. You provide service all the time. You provide service to your PM, you provide service to other members of the project team, you provide service to all your stakeholders, and you need to have that client focus, which says, number one, the customer is king. Number two, I can't afford to be sloppy because I am perceived as an organization. And if I am perceived as an organization, every interaction I have with a client matters. So there is nothing like I am joking. No, you're not joking when you're in the office. You are delivering a service and it must be impeccable at all times. Yes, your confidentiality is absolutely essential, and you must be a team player, transparent. You build relationships. You must be tenacious in the delivery of your duty. You must be resilient. When others can't see the way forward, you've got to be the one that can see the way forward. By all of these things, all of these traits we're talking about, those are describing traits that are already in you. So I know we are not telling you anything new. We're just saying that where the situation in life has made you push back on all of these traits, you need to work with us so that we can, if you enroll on the course, to bring out all of these and for you to keep them at the forefront so that you remember that you are delivering a service to a customer that is very critical of you. And as a result, you are always at your best every single time. Thank you very much. Next slide. So typically in a day in the life of a project support analyst. So did you want Esther to spend a minute on this?
Esther, are you on here? Just because Esther got into this space as well, if she's here. What would you say a day in the life of? Because that's where you have been working. From your experience, can you share a minute or two, Esther or Ola, if you're any of these here? I think I saw Esther.
Hi, Veronica. Hi, Tunde.
Hi. Yes.
Yeah. Day in my life, or just on a general.
General, maybe from your current role, your last project as a either project coordinator or a project support, whatever it was, and maybe generally, or what you have done, you can share.
Okay. Hi, my name is Esther Amike. So when I was when I was interviewing for the role, I was told it was, like Tunde said, it was a project coordinator / project manager role because they didn't have any support within the IT department. So within the IT department, I supported 3 work streams. So I had each work stream had a leader I was reporting to. So when my job role there was to support various projects within those work streams. So I would schedule meetings. I would, so if there was a new project, I was assigned to that project to kind of oversee the project. So I was dealing with various vendors. So on a weekly basis, with some of the vendors, we would have status review meetings where we would look at where the status of the project, any risk or issues that I would flag that up with the vendors and I would chase them. So just various actions within that, and also was responsible for facilitating various meetings. And before I actually left that particular role, I was pulled into various projects. So I was then the project manager of those particular projects. So I was also liaising with different departments within the university, HR, academics and things like that. So I saw various projects from initiation to closure. So I was responsible for the project plan. I was also responsible for managing risk and issues. I was responsible for delivering various reports to my director then. So in some cases where we had issues, so I will escalate that to the head of that particular work stream. And if he couldn't solve it, he says to me, we had to escalate that to the director until it was resolved. So just also creating various comms when the project was going live. I also was responsible for various workshops. So in some cases, I'll bring different team members within that project. So we would sit down and collaborate and, you know, iron out what the deliverables were and what features we wanted to see for that particular software that was being implemented. So my activities varied from just, even though I started as a project coordinator, because my kind of work, I would give 120. So when it was time to even renew the contract, they said no. When my contract ended, they renewed it and said, we're pulling you into other projects. So before I left, I was the project manager for you know, different projects within the IT. So applications, operations, and it was a wealth of experience. So it was more responsibility on me at that time, reporting, creating various reporting dashboards for different stakeholders on different levels. Sometimes my director would say, oh, I can't attend this meeting because there's a clash. Can you go and give a report to the senior stakeholders on that level where he couldn't attend?
So I have quickly, just sorry to cut you, Esther. One thing I'm picking up there, which I think we should relate to the fact that she started off as a project coordinator, but you know, you then picked up skills that helped you to, you know, sort of segue into a project manager or project management function or role, which is kind of what we're sort of trying to bring out here. That's essentially why I wanted Esther to just give a brief run through. So because there are a lot of people here who had probably messaged and they said they are interested in project management and they wanted to understand how easy it is to move from, you know, being a project coordinator or project support, PMO analyst, into actually getting into project management and how easy it was. And so that's why I wanted Esther to share her own example. So that tells you that the fact that you start at, you know, project coordinator or PMO or project support function or role does not mean that, you know, you can't move easily into becoming a project manager. So thank you very much, Esther, for that. We'll probably maybe talk more in a bit more detail about, you know, other things, probably at the end if we have enough time. But yeah, that's one point I wanted to bring up. Thank you very much for that. Thanks for sharing. And just to let you know, Esther also didn't have a background in this space, and she also got into this space, you know, and she's one of she's in the academia as well now. So just to tell you that it is possible. And one other thing, sorry, today what I wanted to point out was you mentioned a few things, and I know a lot of you told me you're in customer service. When I had the live, some people said they're in customer service, some are in admin, operations management, and all of that. So what you want to start doing is, as Tunde is talking through and picking up the, you know, these things that you would do as a project support person, you now start looking at the things that you have or that you are currently doing or you have done back home that sort of relates. And that's where the transferable skill set comes in. So you need to start thinking about that and start writing it down. Okay, over to you, Tunde. Thank you. I just wanted to throw that in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So for this bit, I think we have pretty much talked about it. Yeah, it's just what Esther spoke about: communication, problem solving. Many questions will be directed at you. People would be used to talking to you because the project manager will speak big English. You would solve the problem, and as a result, you are the main point of contact for the project. If you because you will know everything and you will know everyone. If you are not in a position to solve that problem, you would know the best person to deal with that problem, and yeah, you become the focal point for the project. I think it is typical to have project coordinators becoming the de facto project manager because you solve the problem quicker than a project manager would, and it becomes the way it works for most projects. It's a similar sort of thing for a PMO analyst, only that at this level you're probably a little bit more strategy focused. You Yes, as a project coordinator, you are probably looking at the risks and issues for a particular project, but you probably begin to take a governance view of a lot more than one project. You begin to provide framework that guides everything that everyone is doing, the financial management, fiscal responsibilities for the project might likely come to you as well as a PMO analyst, whatever flavor of project support or PMO analysis you find yourself. It's just a different engagement with a different part of a bigger project. That's all it is mainly. So, for example, as in the PMO, let's say, so typically a PMO would be overseeing a lot of projects, and that is the slight difference. And that's why your involvement is more at a framework, at a strategy level, at looking at the finances of all the projects, looking at the resource tracking for all of the projects, and establishing templates that guides the way obviously you want to make things easy for yourself as well. So you want to use templates, you want to use standardized format that allows you to be able to use one format or one central form to collect information from all of the projects. And those are the sort of things you begin to do. So yes, I agree. This might be slightly more strategic, but essentially it's the same skill set that you would most probably take into this as well. I think I probably, so the only one I would maybe want to pick out of this one is the RAID log. Risk, assumptions, issues, and dependencies. It's the more day-to-day document that you will come across. Every other one is there. I'm not saying you will not be, but I think 9 out of 10 in the life of a project coordinator, you would need to be responsible for managing their risks, the assumptions, the issues, and the dependencies. You're asking if you can hear me?
Yeah, because somebody says they can't hear. I just wanted to check. Okay, so it's a person. Okay, that's fine. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still speaking at the top of my voice. So I don't want us to go into the details of thanks everybody. So that is the key document that you would have responsibility for. Others are there as well. In terms of progress trackers, again, you want to standardize things. You want a single format across all the projects. You work with your project stakeholders to agree the format. See, the thing is, the value of information is that it is well received and everybody can understand it. So you would work with the rest of the team to put in place the relevant mechanism for reporting. If I wanted to talk a little bit about the tools used for reporting, there was, if you please go back, so there is PowerPoint, Excel, and without touching on the tools. So you have a need to be an effective project coordinator, you will need 3 things. You will need technical project skills, which are all the things we'll be mentioning. You will need other relevant capabilities, which is maybe you know how to use PowerPoint, maybe you know how to use Excel, maybe you know how to use all of those business intelligence reporting tools, But yeah, and then you need a good attitude. Every other thing that you need to do, you can pick as a part of a training process or as a part of your learning in the organization. So I'm not going to go into the technical details of what we have on here. This is just to make you aware that there comes a time when you would need to demonstrate a little bit of technical skills around scheduling, budgeting, writing business cases, data skills, data presentation, risk management, and project monitoring. All of this could be done with any type of skills. So Esther has spoken about that bit. I also don't want to go into the technical details of the sort of meetings you would be involved in. The key thing is that principally you need to go in with those three key skill sets, capabilities that allows you to be effective. You need to have all of the traits and attributes that we discussed earlier. And you, at an interview, you will need to demonstrate a good knowledge of the job description, and you get yourself a job. Every other thing will come to you naturally. If you got a job, it's because you can do it. Do you want to talk about this, Veronica, or do you want me to take it?
Yeah, I was sort of hoping we could just spend a few minutes because I don't know, maybe do a bit of Q&A because I know the time is almost up. But a lot of people here want to know how to leverage their skill. You know, just to if people have questions, I'm just thinking.
If we go to that summary slide we prepared earlier. So if you skip this one, if you go on.
Okay.
Let's just let the question be after this one.
Okay, this one.
Yes. So you let the questions be based. I just realized that our time is fast
out of time. Yes.
So if you start with this, I will. Or do you want me to take this?
Yes, you can. Yeah. I just wanted to say that. Okay, there's some questions in the chat. We'll have a look at it. For hands raised. Maybe we take that based on what we have just shared, and then we come and focus on this. Is that all right?
Okay, that's fine then. Yeah.
Okay. If you have your hands raised, do you want to unmute yourself and ask any specific question? I can see 2 hands raised. Was that in error? Lillian, your hand is raised. Colade, your hand is also raised. Was that in error? I hope you guys can still hear us. Got 3 hands now. Precious.
Okay, can I ask the question?
Yes,
Precious?
go ahead. Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to ask about career opportunities, to be precise. I'm currently studying project management at master's level, and I would like to know if there are much opportunities to work part-time because of visa conditions, so as to gain necessary experience. So when you're done with the master's, you can maybe resume a full-time job.
That's a good one. Tunde, do you want to take that? Then I can talk about it too.
So let's. I think the rule is never say never. But so project roles are typically full time. Well, again, never say never. If that is what you want, I think you just need to go for it. You might get 99 no's, but there will be a yes in there.
Yeah, I think, like Tulia said, largely they are full-time positions. However, you might, see things like part-time. I think I would have seen some. It's just for you to research and find out, or even like job share opportunities that that you can find out there. But to be quite honest, largely most times it will be full-time. So it might be tricky for you to, find a job where it says, yeah, come on and do part-time while you're studying, and not unless you're already in the system, for instance, because there are times where people are already working and then they take some time, to study, study leave, and they are doing that simultaneously or whatnot. But it's rare that you would actually get part-time roles, but that's not to say they don't exist. But let me speak to your getting experience, which is what I think we would probably be talking more about. And we find that a lot of people come on to, so you might have some internship opportunities that would even say maybe 20 hours a week, or that part-time, they exist. But it's just for you to research and find them. But you see, what people tend to do, and a few of the people that have worked with us, is they keep their job, they're doing their job, or they are studying. I think I have a few people who just did their project management master's degree in the program. But because our program is like nighttime, so you do your study or whatnot you're doing during the day, but then you now join a boot camp, join a program like this where you're now gaining hands-on experience. Of course, I'm not saying it's free, we're not, but it is something that we offer. And a lot of people are doing that while they're studying project management masters or whatever, and then they are working with us on any of our projects, to get familiar with all these things we're talking about in terms of tools, terminologies, industry standard techniques, and actual real projects, and so that by the time they finish, they would have had that experience. And now we've had some people even from Nigeria who are planning to relocate. Then they hear about us, they join, work on a project whilst they are still back home, because they can do all of this remotely. And then when it's now time, I think there was a lady who was going to Canada. So she joined the program and she was doing her job back home in Nigeria, but was also working on projects to gain the experience, which of course was now what she put on her CV when she went to Canada, and that would give her an opportunity, or give you a good edge when it comes to actually getting the job, because you would have picked up this experience, which will then go on your CV after you complete your study. So that's how I've seen people, sort of manage or navigate that. Or, it's about research and it's about looking. Who says that you won't find maybe somebody who's going on a job share and they're looking for a part-time person? It does exist. So like Tunde said, never say never, but what we've seen is this how people have managed it from experience. I hope that helps.
There were two questions. One was about certification. The other one was when is BA course going to start?
Okay, I have a question. Good evening.
Okay, hi, go on.
Go on.
Okay, good evening. So I'm Kolade. Actually, I started project management from Nigeria before relocating here for my master's. However, one of the things I noticed is, or my question basically is it really possible to get a project management role here without a Prince 2 certification? Because I can see it's Prince 2 that is recognized over here. That's one. Then if there are other certifications that you think maybe someone can take while trying to apply for a project management role, maybe you can share with us also. So those are the two things I want to ask. Is it possible to get a project management role here without a Prince 2 certification?
Of course. Tunde, do you want to talk about that? And I'll probably, if there's time, I'll chime in. But... Okay,
let me try and see if I can be quick about it. Certification, the ones related to the certification. So there are several frameworks applicable. Now, I think the first thing to say is that there are no mandatory requirements to have any certification before you can get a PM or project coordinator role, but it looks good on your CV, if you know what I'm talking about. So if you can't get a certification, please get a certification. If you need recommendation on which one you want to go for, because there are several of them. You have Prince 2, you have PMP, you have all these agile qualifications. I can't remember all of the different ones.
Yeah, Scrum Master and all.
Yeah, so there are quite a number. yeah, you can pick one to start with, but to be honest, they are equally effective. It is not a requirement. It just broadens your knowledge and gives you a wider horizon with which to perceive and deal with the subject of project management. There was a question. Sorry, let me just quickly rattle through and then I'll leave this with you. I'm seeing the time now. The possibility of getting a remote job, yes, is there. Actually, quite a number of jobs nowadays
are remote, yeah.
Are remote.
Yeah.
Do you need a degree to get to the field? That's what I'm trying to get to. Actually, as a project coordinator, and I think in most of the other roles that your project roles that you're going to be getting into, there are no requirements for you to have a degree.
Yep.
A degree is good, but there are no requirements for you to have a degree. And so it is all about how you have presented yourself. You can see number 3 item on that image you're seeing. It is all about that. And of course, you still have to do something that helps improve the way you are perceived when they look at your CV. Veronica, do you want to take it out?
Yeah, I was just saying, you don't. I mean, it's a nice to have, and of course, it gives you, makes you look. It looks good on your CV, like Tunde has said, gives that credibility. But we've seen people who have gotten jobs without the certification, so it's not a mandatory requirement. I think what you really should focus on, which was something I talked about during the live at Mo Abudu, I said that a lot of us Africans, we are really hung up on several degrees and certifications, which of course obtains back home. But here it's more of, can you do the job? So what you want to focus on is, something that would help you understand how it really, what the day-to-day looks like, and what skill you need, what a project coordinator or a PMO analyst does, and how to gain this hands-on experience, because that is what you can talk about during your interview. And largely, even when you now scale through the interview and you get a time for you to do the job, you know how to do the job because you have practiced. So it's more, what I would say is focus on, whether it's volunteering, internship, just an opportunity to work, to do a project, so that you would have seen a project through from end to end, and you can talk about it at an interview. And then when you get the job, you'll be able to hit the ground running. But you see, if you spend time, having so many certifications, what it's all textbook, theory-based, they're good in themselves, but they're not enough when it comes to being market ready and being able to do the job, is what we're saying. So it's about looking at projects, looking at scenarios, how can you apply it that you can talk about? Because at the end of the day, it's getting through the interview. And how do you get through the interview is being able to demonstrate that, okay, I know what I need to do. I know what this role is looking for, and I can do it because I have practiced, I have worked on a project, I have done a case study and all of that. And that's essentially what will give you the job, rather than the certifications, because I can't turn up at an interview and say, oh, I have Prince 2, I have this, I have that, so give me the job. You're going to have to do more than that, is what you're saying. Okay.
There's a question about can the PMO program be used as a stepping stone to break into GDPR? They are separate things.
They are separate, yeah.
But again, we're almost running out of time, but we can discuss that a little bit more later. Do you train? Yes. This is an academy. It's a training organization.
Yeah, that's why we're here, actually. Yeah.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, hi.
Hello. Is that Vicky?
Hello.
Hello, yeah. We can hear you.
Yeah, good evening. This is Amy Jude Peters, and thank you, Veronica. Thank you, the facilitator Babatunde, for the insight given. Okay, I'm a lawyer turned HR consultant who just recently moved to the UK, and I was privy to join this group, which I'm grateful I'm part of, and I'm hoping to go further. I have some questions, and I'll like one clarification and then further details about the academy, because you've been talking about the academy. So the basic thing, I would want to know how to get enrolled, what packages you have, and
That's coming, don't worry.
Okay, so if you would throw more light on that, because that's basically the interest. And then secondly, another thing is, yeah, we've talked about the certifications. Yeah, how really relevant is it, and what is it going to do for, is it going to actually distinguish us from the crowd? Then another limitation here in the UK, which I've come to understand, is the UK work experience factor, you know, which is limiting a lot of us, particularly people from Nigeria or from the African continent, where we come here, even with our vast experience and knowledge and hands-on, yet we're being limited because they're asking for the UK experience, which most of us don't have. And then I don't know if the academy, if we'll join after the program or whilst we're doing the program, and then we keep training our applications here and there. Will the academy be giving us a reference, yeah, to back up, you know, what we've done, whether we've done internship with the academy and then the trainings? Thank you.
Wow, how many do we remember?
Okay, we can take the academy.
Okay. Yeah,
then
okay. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to come to that. So thank you very much, Amy. Maybe I'll let Tunde talk about what this slide. So some of you have, okay, actually, somebody says, can you combine business management and project management? When you say combine, what does that mean? What does that mean? Business management and project management. I'm not sure what you mean.
I think the simple thing that's to Vicky. I think we should just keep them separate for now. Each one of them is enough. So, yeah, don't
make it complicated. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Okay, so yeah, because of time.
Did you want to answer Amy first, or do you want me to take this?
Yeah, because Amy is talking about the academy, whether we give all of that, we'll talk about that later, which is, I think, is on the next slide. But let's talk about, someone says, do you train? And this is why we're here. So we've told you all of this just to let you know that, okay, yes, you've come from back home. Now, I want to pick up one of the questions Amy mentioned, which a lot of you who have been talking to me have also highlighted. So yes, that whole, I don't have UK-based experience. But if you reference my point on leveraging your transferable skills, so you are, I think, a lawyer turned, is a HR consultant, did you say? So yeah, so there is definitely, you know, things that you have done that, of course, you can leverage, regardless of geography, regardless of where you've come from. And that's what I keep emphasizing. But it's about how you present it, how you sell yourself, how you package it on your CV. Okay, so that's the, you know, I think gone are those days when we allow that I don't have UK-based experience hold us back anymore, because now a lot of us know more, and we know that it's about positioning, it's about how you present it, to say, yes, I don't have UK-based experience, but as a banker in Nigeria, I did X, Y, and Z. So Oludele isn't here, one of the guys in the academy, and that's how he answers his interview questions. He now works with PwC. He had 10 years banking experience from Nigeria, and that was attractive to them. So it's all about, you know, working with someone who can help you to really, you know, package that word I keep saying, packaging. And so that's not to say that you won't find that challenge. You won't have to deal with that when you see some jobs. Now I see people say, oh, the job says must have 5 years, blah, blah, blah. And I say to them, the academy, still apply. The worst that can happen is they don't call you. But if you hold back and saying, oh, because he said this, I won't. So, and I always tell them, I say that a job description is a wish list. So if you're doing your research and you say you must have 5 years experience as a business analyst or as a project manager, and then, but you've got some, you know, very excellent soft skills that you can see on that job description that you can speak to, I say to them, apply. You know, and the worst that they would just say, oh, yes, you're not suitable, but at least you have tried, and you keep doing that. And we've seen how people have been able to, you know, whether it's a cover letter or they've been able to actually articulate and demonstrate that I've got something that I can bring to the table. I don't have to be this technical. I don't have to be that and whatnot. And because I developed this experience from Qatar, from Ghana, does not make it different to what you need. And I can see that in this role, I can see that this is what you need. So it's a lot of it is about presentation. It's about how you're able to speak to it and how you're able to put yourself out. And there's something I talk about, networking, you know, the hidden job market. There's a lot we can't cover now, but these are the things we cover in the program. So let me just, you know, so I think just to cover that whole, I don't have UK-based experience. It's about how you present it. It's about how you repurpose what you have. So what we have tried to do today is to say, okay, you want to get into project management, but there is what you call a stepping stone path, such as your project coordinator or your PMO, which of course are things that are easier to identify from things you've done. Those of you who have done customer service, I know a lot of you told me you've done customer service, you've done admin and all of those things. Look at the things that Tunde talked about. Somebody that knows how to communicate, someone that is client facing, someone that knows how to report, manage reports, support PM. So all of the things you've done from back home, it's about how you present it on this CV and then you put yourself out there. And then when you get the call, you then speak to it and say, I can do this, I've done it, even though it's not UK based, it is from Africa. And so a lot of the people in the academy, their CVs, some of them have Nigeria, House of Rep, what, you know, and all of these things. And we don't tell them to remove it. We leave it there. Because like I would always say, a skill is a skill. I think we've got of time, we've got to go now. So we train, and what our proposition for you today is, we want to show you a program, a boot camp that we offer if you want to come on. And I'll just let Tunde talk about it in detail. And then those of you who think it's something you want to explore, you can explore. Somebody talked about business analysis. We do that. We offer it. In my beginning, in my intro statement, I mentioned we do business analysis, we do data privacy, we do project management. But for today, we are really talking about this 4-weeks program that will sort of help you to get into project management. And I'll let Tunde talk about that before we answer the rest of Amy's questions. I hope that's fine. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's broken. There are 3 stages to this program. The way we've conceived it and the way we think is going to work for most people is for it to be intensive across 4 weeks. So for the first week, we have 10 hours of tutor-led training. Essentially, we're going to be looking at projects, project management. We're going to be looking at what you need to be an effective project coordinator. And we'll help you zero in on those skills so that you are laser focused on exactly what you need to get yourself a project coordinator role. And that is on the first week of your engagement on that program. The bit that is interesting to me, more interesting, is not the one that we are telling you what you need to know, but the bit where you have to do it yourself. So here, we will give you a minimum of 20 tasks. These tasks will be based on either a live project or a project that we've done successfully that we already know how it panned out. Now, the key element of this program is that it's a condensed program and it doesn't have project deliverable meetings like the other people in the academy will do. That is the main difference. You would have to trust that we have presented to you the scenario in such a way that makes you feel like you have actually been on that job or on that project, and you have done the role that we are asking you to tell us, or we are giving you the task on. So we're going to give you at least 20 tasks. They will be based on either a live project, mostly a live project, or a project that's just been concluded. Each task will be weighted in such a way that we know that it will take you a minimum of half a day to be able to complete each of the tasks. So we already know by the nature of being a part of that project, where that task is done, or where you have given the task to somebody to do, or it's a task, it's one that we have done before, we know how long it takes, you can't do it for less, and you can do it for more, but we know that you would have given it at least 4 hours for you to be able to complete those tasks. Now, the idea behind those is when you want to put stuff on your CV, we're going to talk about CV packaging, which I will leave Veronica to talk about. We will make sure that what you know, so if we give you a task, a project, and we say you should create a draft budget for, and you have created a draft budget for that project, we know you could not have created it in less than 4 hours. We know it's more likely going to take you 4 hours and maybe half the night, because you're going to report on it to your mentor the next day. So we know you would have done that, and you can confidently tell people that you have created a budget, a draft budget plan before. And that is the structure of those case study-based self-study. Now, what you would have WhatsApp or Telegram's access to a mentor. But what you would also have is that we would have standing sessions every other evening for 30 minutes, where you can join if you have a question based on your task that you have completed for that day, or you ask your mentor a question and they said it would be better for them to answer the question on that call. So you would have access to that call so that you can check your understanding, you can check your output, but your output will be checked anyway by the mentors, and your competence in the completion of those tasks will be assessed, and you would be told how you are doing. If you need more time, an approach will be put in place to help you do more. So the truth of the matter is that you would have to learn those things that you are doing. And so it is not something you can take as if it's nothing. You can only pass through if you have done the task. And that is how they will be structured. And there will be a minimum of 10 contact hours available. So for each of the weekends across those 2 weeks, we would have classes where the most common trends or questions across all of the exercise, and we would actually put people on the spot. We will tell them to tell us about a task they have reported on. We will tell them to ask them to tell us about a specific issue that we deliberately inserted in there, and how they have dealt with it. If we notice that somebody took a different approach to another person, on the weekend where we're reviewing the outcome, we will ask them to defend together the reasons why they have taken the actions they took, and for the person that took a different set of actions to tell us why they took a different one and not what the first person took. So it will be very interactive, and the whole idea is to, within the confines of the Zoom of the Zoom meeting and wherever you are, mimic and attempt to create the exact scenarios that we have seen where this scenario or the case study actually played out, so that you can learn, and we can try to immerse you in what we have seen, in the hope that you will be able to adopt the knowledge and personalize it and use it as your own. The whole idea is that you are going to put those on your CVs, and when you put them on your CVs, you will be able to defend them, because we would have grilled you enough for you to be able to defend those items. And then on the 4th week, Veronica, do you want to take the packaging bit?
Yeah, thank you for that. So let me just quickly caveat that this is just basically project related, so project support, so PMO, project coordinator, and nothing else. So the focus is that's where we are honing on. So people who want to get into project management, you've got your background from back home, you have something similar, or you just want to see how it's done. You know, you want to see a real scenario which will take you through, and then eventually that can be the most recent experience on your CV eventually, and then you can actually put yourself out there. So it's really it's not business analysis, it's not data analysis or any of these other bits. Just to emphasize on that, it's just all project support related. Now, the final one is we will now help you. We won't write your CV. We won't, that's a different thing altogether, but we will guide you, because that is, most of you know that that's my area of expertise. So I would do what we call your LinkedIn optimization. So if you're looking to make a career switch, like I said last time, you have to be on LinkedIn, how to position yourself, how to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is up to date. It is actually yielding the kind of results that we want it to. It's making you attractive to the tech recruiters and hiring managers and things like that. So we walk through that on the call, and then we review your LinkedIn, give you feedback until it's on point. Then the CV prep is, we won't write the CV, but we will give you CV templates that we use, that people in the academy have used to get jobs, we have used. So you have a CV template. We then will have a session where we're walking through how to, curate your own CV, leveraging, like I think it was Amy, your background from back home or back from anywhere it is. We will look at it and say, okay, how can you present this? How can you repurpose it so that it speaks to the audience within, this place that you're looking for? And that is all, this is something that will guide you on. And we say, okay, your profile summary should have these key elements and the things that you had before. How do you repurpose it? What are the key words that needs to be there? Some of you know about, I think, Amy, you might know about the ATS, your applicant tracking system, which is what a lot of organizations use to shortlist. And we will tell you, okay, how do you make sure that that CV is ATS compliant, is ATS friendly, it has the right keywords if you want to get into project management? How do you make sure that that is in place? So we do all of that with you looking at your CV. So LinkedIn prep, CV review, we'll give you a CV template. We'll tell you, okay, now that you are doing a project management master's, how do you start positioning yourself whilst you're doing that study? Whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on certain communities, because it's all about strategic positioning. And that's another thing I talked about as well. How do you start so that you can start even pitching to say, oh, you're doing a master's in project management, you will finish at this time, and you can start connecting with relevant people and building those relationships. And trust me, that's what this whole hidden job market is. That's what it means. It's about networking. It's about referrals now, rather than sending 50 and 100 CVs on those job boards. And so those are kind of things that we will talk through this week 4, just to help you to be well positioned if, of course, you come on the program. And so that's pretty much what this looks like. So it is a very fast track, fast pace for people who want to, hit the ground running. It's not, you have to have some core fundamentals. You've got to be computer literate, and you've got to be ready to put in the work and all of that. And if it's something that you think you are ready, yes, you can come on. And that's what we are offering today. Now, the bit about Amy's question, the academy is there. And I mentioned that, yes, we do business analysis, project management, data privacy. We have different offerings. We have the 12 weeks BAPM. We have the 6 months program. And for those programs, yes, we give career reference. But for this one, because it is quite short and it is scenario based, we are not offering, that's not on the table. But trust me, what you have, it's about how you present it, which will guide you. That should be enough for you to even look out there. And if maybe you get a call from somebody and they want to even maybe check with us, I think that's something we can discuss. We can look at that. But all our programs within the academy, if you have been through the program from end to end, you get a certificate of completion and you get career reference for the period that you have been with us. When is training commencing? Good one. So the training commences tentatively, it could change, but the date we're working towards is April the 14th is what we are looking at. And the cost, Trevor, can you drop the link? I think it might be on here. Yeah. So if you take up this offer for this 4 weeks course that we just talked about, the masterclass offer, if you pay today, is £400. But if you pay after maybe another week or so, it's 550 for the course that we have just talked to you about. It's very, very detailed, and you will have us, and there will be a group that is just for those who join. You can pick our brains, you can ask us questions, and all the things Cindy has already mentioned. And this is what it is. Tentative start date is April the 14th, but we would like people who are interested now to start applying, and the link has just been dropped. So it's just for you to click the link and register if it's something that you will be interested in. Okay, I don't know if Tunde has anything else, or if there are any questions. We're supposed to end at 7, but I think we didn't do too badly. Yes, so the link is there. You can click the link and sign up now. And once you sign up, you will hear details from us, the breakdown and all of that from the coming week. Taster class, there isn't any taster class for BA. I think some of you asked, but if you go onto our website, the reason is because we've done a lot of BA taster sessions, and we have those videos. So, but you can access them on our events page. So if you go onto sterlingcareerslimited.com, go onto the website. On the events page, you will see business analysis, even some project management, data privacy, previous events that we've done before. So you can get on Choma DK, that name rings a bell. Yeah, okay. The 6 months is also on our website. It's 1,004, but that can be split into 3 installments, I believe. Thank you, Trevor. So the website there it's in there as well. So the 6 months is also on the website. That can be split into 3 installments for the 6 months program. So it's all on the events page. You will see some start dates. I believe we just had a March group that started this Saturday, and we're looking at another cohort. It depends on numbers. So if it's something you want to start immediately, you can go on our website and get the details, sign up, and we'll have you on the list as well. So we take on every month. We have intakes. Okay, I hope that's answered your question, Amy. I don't know if there's anything else I missed. I think I talked about our course and internship, what do you call it? Reference here for the period. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you everyone. And so I hope you found this very useful, and I hope to see some of you join us on this program. Yeah, the 6 months you have project management. Yeah, so it's on there. It's all on the website, so you can have a look at the 6 months program. The project support one is 4 weeks, and we look forward to welcoming you to the academy. Thank you. Tunde, do you have any closing remarks before we call it a day?
Nice meeting you all. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
Okay. All right. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye. Hopefully, we would also post the links in the WhatsApp group just in case you miss it. Thank you very much, and good night.